The new European Parliament displays immediately its full support for Ukraine, adopting a support resolution until victory. Far-right groups are divided on the matter.
Ursula von der Leyen loses a COVID-19 vaccines transparency case on the eve of a crucial vote to confirm her nomination as European Commission President.
The UK Labour Party has set out its plans for Britain at the state opening of Parliament.
Victims of the Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 crash have been remembered during a service at the crash site in eastern Ukraine 10 years on.
The new European Parliament displays immediately its full support for Ukraine. The first resolution of the first plenary session doubled down the commitment to support the country politically, economically and militarily for as long as it takes to guarantee victory against the Russian invasion. The text was approved by a large majority of 495 MEPs and condemns the recent visit to Moscow by Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who holds the rotating presidency of the Council of the European Union.
I'm quite confident, because I do not see what such a behavior of Prime Minister Orban is real, violation of the treaties. But of course, also from political point of view, I think this is, a big mistake of Prime Minister Orban, showing that he is really not only that he is, not following EU, goals and rules, but also he is serving like an agent of Mr. Putin.
Meanwhile, support for Ukraine divides far-right groups. The European Conservatives and Reformists promoted the resolution and voted unanimously in favor. The Patriots for Europe group and the Europe of Sovereign Nations group, however, voted against, as did the left.
My delegation of Vlaams Belang is for peace in Ukraine. We want the killing to stop. This is our desired outcome. How to get there? I think one of the elements is dialogue and diplomacy. And if we stop talking to each other with all the relevant actors, Mr. Orban not only talked to Mr. Zelensky, but also to Mr. Putin, Mr. Xi Jinping, and the United States, so Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump. So I think you need to enter into dialogue to look for ways to get to this desired outcome of the killing that should be stopped and the peace to re-enter in this country.
So far, the European Union and its member states have provided Ukraine with total sum of around 95 billion euros, of which a third is in military aid.
The European Commission has not given the public sufficient access to its contracts to purchase vaccines against COVID-19, according to the EU Court of Justice. The missing information concerns in particular declarations of absence of conflict of interest and compensation. Coincidentally, the long-awaited verdict was delivered the day before the vote in the European Parliament in Strasbourg to elect the presidency of the Commission. A crucial vote for Ursula von der Leyen, who is running for a second mandate. The Commission has responded that it grants in general wide access to documents under transparency rules.
According to the court, the Commission should have provided more justifications for its refusal to grant access to certain provisions in the contract. So it's very much an issue of justification, I would say, rather than one of substance.
According to the court, the purchase of vaccines on behalf of the 27 member states allowed the bloc to quickly disperse 2.7 billion euros to place an order for more than 1 billion doses of vaccines. The court has been criticized by MEPs and individuals. They lamented that the Commission only provided them with partial access to certain contracts. The NGO Transparency International, which fights corruption worldwide, did applaud the verdict in principle.
En général, c'est une très bonne nouvelle pour la transparence et l'éthique à niveau européen. C'est dommage qu'il n'y a pas, qu'on a dû attendre la décision de la Cour et que la Commission n'a pas assuré la transparence et donné accès au préalable. Nous espérons que la décision de la Cour va inciter la Commission à être plus transparent de manière proactive à l'avenir.
Another case about SMS exchanges between Ursula von der Leyen and CEO of Pfizer over COVID-19 vaccine orders is still ongoing.
The Labour Party has set out its plans for national renewal at the state opening of Parliament in the UK. In a speech delivered by King Charles III, newly installed Prime Minister Keir Starmer vowed his government will ease the cost of living crisis and bring change to Britain at modest cost to taxpayers.
My government will govern in service to the country. My government's legislative programme will be mission-led and based upon the principles of security, fairness and opportunity for all. Stability will be the cornerstone of my government's economic policy, and every decision will be consistent with its fiscal rules.
The King's speech included 40 bills ranging from house building to nationalising Britain's railways and decarbonising the nation's power supply.
Ich begrüße zum heutigen Pressegespräch mit Innenminister Gerd Karner.
The Austrian government has announced a tough new set of rules for asylum seekers, which will require them to work whilst in the country. The new measures mean that refugees will be obliged to do charitable work for the federal, state and local governments, or at companies with at least 5 community service workers, in the nursing service or in homeless shelters. The country's Interior Minister, Gerhard Kahner, announced the new measures that came into effect for asylum seekers in Austria from Tuesday, the 16th of July.
Wer keine gemeinnützige Arbeit leistet, dem wird das Taschengeld entsprechend gekürzt, nämlich von 40 auf 20 € in erster Folge. Das ist eine der klaren Konsequenzen und Teil dieser Verordnung.
The new measures are intended to strengthen the integration of refugees. Victims of the Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 crash have been remembered during a service at the crash site in eastern Ukraine 10 years on. The Boeing 777 was heading from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur on July the 17th, 2014, when it was shot down over eastern Ukraine during the conflict between pro-Russia separatists and Ukrainian forces. It killed all 298 people on board. In the village of Hrabov, residents laid flowers and toys at the memorial service, honouring the victims. Some of them could not hold back their tears, remembering the day of the tragedy.
Это больно. Жалко всего больше то, что люди. Вот людей жалко. Людей жалко. И те, я уже говорила, пусть Божья кара будет. Будет кара Божья тем, кто это сделал.
An investigation led by the Dutch Safety Board concluded that a Russian-made missile brought the plane down. Investigators said it came from the 53rd Anti-Aircraft Missile Brigade, a unit of the Russian armed forces based in the city of Kursk, but Moscow denies any responsibility.
It's wildfire season in Albania, with flames engulfing the Gjokastra district in the country's south. Emergency services are on high alert, and the country has asked for European support. For the past 2 years, Albania has been receiving help from other countries as part of the EU Civil Protection Mechanism.
Jemi në kontakt me qendrën e mekanizmit evropian të solidaritetit, përmes të cilit duam të vazhdojmë luftën edhe nga ajri.
A state supreme audit found that Albania's fire engines are old and badly maintained. The Defense Ministry is in possession of 4 helicopters to use in emergencies, but only one of them is active according to the report, with others rejected from failing safety tests. However, firefighters are becoming more innovative with technology to cope with the blazes.
Aktualisht drone për fikën e zjarrit në Shqipëri nuk disponohet. Ka drone të barrektar, janë drone që disponon policia, që në çdo rast që na është dashur në vend dispozicion për të evidentuar dhe për të bërë një vlerësim të situatave dhe të fatrave të zjarrit nga lart.
Albania is prone to summer blazes because of high temperatures and its landscape. Each year, the wildfires burn an average of 10,000 hectares of land.
The mayor of Paris has been swimming in the Seine in an attempt to prove the river is clean enough to host open swimming competitions during the 2024 Olympics. She was joined by Paris 2024 Olympic chief Tony Estanguet and the top government official for the Paris region, Marc Guillaume.
Je veux vraiment ici remercier très sincèrement le préfet de région. D'abord il est là, il a nagé, hein, c'est quand même bravo monsieur le préfet, mais sans vous, on ne serait pas arrivé, vraiment, parce que c'était 4 ans de travail et on l'a fait avec conviction et énergie. Je veux remercier évidemment Tony parce que sans les jeunes, on ne l'aurait pas fait, parce que c'était un tel challenge. Il fallait vraiment se mettre tous ensemble.
Anne Hidalgo made a promise to bathe in the river months ago, amid concerns about unsafe levels of E. coli bacteria in the water. Her swim follows that of French sports minister Amélie Oudéa-Castéra, who took a dip in the Seine last weekend wearing a full bodysuit. Swimming in the Seine has been banned for 101 years, but will be reintroduced to the general public in Paris from 2025.